We'll break it down slowly. A big hour tonight. The corrupt, Trump-hating news media, they are dusting off their tinfoil hats, fueling up their black helicopters, and are running absolutely wild with baseless conspiracy theories about President Trump and his great health report. We're going to cover the out-of-control media and this bias. We do it regularly on the program, but this is now insane. This is a new level. So Dr. Ronny Jackson, he briefed the media on the results of the president's extensive medical exams. What did he find? A president in excellent health. Dr. Jackson is also saying the president that he did so well in a cognitive test, and he has normal, perfect neurological functions. No early onset on Alzheimer's or dementia. Now, of course, this did not fit the media and their preconceived fake news narrative that President Trump is crazy, suffering from dementia, early onset, and is mentally unfit to serve, which means in their twisted minds, he needs to be thrown out of office. For 49 long minutes, the media breathlessly, hysterically asking the president's doctor about his mental fitness. They couldn't believe the answers they were getting. He asked for the cognitive test. It's one of the best tests out there. And he passed it perfectly, 30 out of 30. This is something they have been obsessing over. You're going to enjoy this. Watch.
Can you assess the president's mental fitness for office?
The president appeared to slur his words while giving an address. Did you look into what the cause of that might have been at all?
Are you ruling out things like early onset Alzheimer's? Are you looking at dementia-like symptoms?
On what basis would you, and this is just a philosophical question, advise the cabinet that the president is unable to discharge his duties? How does that bar get met?
When you analyze his cognitive ability or his neurological functions, that is not the same thing as a psychiatric exam or a psychological exam.
It is not.
You mentioned that you gave the president a cognitive test. Was that the mini mental state examination or the Boltzmann test? And if not, can you tell us what specific cognitive test you gave?
It was.
Given that there's scrutiny of what was overlooked at the time with President Reagan in terms of Alzheimer's and things he was then known to suffer from at a later date. Can you say that whether the test that you ran would exclude any of those things?
The president's age in continuing his physicals in the future, will you also continue the cognitive testing?
You say that the president was the one who requested the cognitive test, that it wasn't necessarily needed for someone of his age. Did he tell you why he wanted it done?
What is your take of all the doctors and clinicians all across the country who have said that in this president they see symptoms of this, that, and the other?
Symptoms in what way?
Well, symptoms of dementia.
Pretty amazing. Now, to reiterate, Dr. Jackson, he told the media that the president is in excellent health and he could easily serve for 2 terms. That really got to them. Now, the only thing wrong, okay, he has moderately high cholesterol. A lot of us do. He needs to lose a couple of pounds. A lot of us do. And, of course, the media, they couldn't stand the good news. They couldn't even believe it. Now, this is what's interesting. They have so convinced themselves in their little bubble that they have. You know, it's like an echo chamber that only they listen to. Endless hours of speculation that the president was unfit for office. So the press conference just continued to go off the rails like I have never seen before. Never before has a doctor been this transparent with the media asking Dr. Jackson about things like the president's Twitter use, his television watching habits, how many scoops of ice cream he has for dessert. Take a look at what supposedly is investigative journalism in this country in action. Take a look.
Do you keep a tally of how much golf the U.S. president plays?
Some of the president's friends have told reporters in the past that they think he's a germaphobe, that he washes his hands obsessively and is concerned about that. Have you seen any indication of that type of behavior?
I don't. Sedentary lifestyle sort of perspective. Should he cut back on that?
Did you see any evidence of bone spurs, which the president said that he suffered from? Is he limited to 1 scoop of ice cream now?
Do you have any concerns about the president's use of Twitter?
No, I don't. Yeah, Twitter doesn't involve me as a doctor. I don't have any concern on that.
Does the president wear dentures?
He does
mentioned
not.
dental exam.
The president has no partial or indentures of any kind.
You said he doesn't drink and he doesn't smoke, and other than the diet issue, did you address drug addiction?
Drug addiction?
I mean, any other drugs?
Yeah, no, he has no drug addiction.
We have a lot of people in the studio tonight. They're all laughing. All right, we actually went back and we checked to see if the media ever asked anything close to those kind of questions about Barack Obama's health or any other president for that matter. And the answer, of course, they did not. Now, after that frenzied display, members of the media, they should have their own heads examined. Look, I've said this before. Hating Trump is their heroin. It's their drug. And they're completely hooked on their drug. They're like addicts. The only thing that gives them their fix is attacking the president minute by minute. And the media is so completely, utterly unhinged and deranged. And today's press conference is just their latest episode. Now, ever since President Trump announced his candidacy, you have the blind sheep in the liberal media who live in their own little bubble and bounce their own recycled talking points in their own little echo chamber. They've been rushing to create a new crisis after a new crisis after a new crisis. And their recent hyperventilation has reached extreme levels, even for their pathetically low standards, by the way. It's one crisis, one panic, one total meltdown after another where they repeat the exact same words, meaning NBC, ABC, CBS, New York Times, Washington Post. They use the same commentary until something better can be blown out of proportion comes along. And for the last couple of weeks, let's see, the media's schizophrenia has been on full display. It's gone from a year of saying President Trump colluded with Russians, there's no evidence, to President Trump is going to start a nuclear war. They're not mad that it was, in fact, Bill Clinton that gave North Korea billions and promised it's going to be a good deal for American people. To the media being BFFs with Steve Bannon, you know, they were friends for at least 3 days because he made comments that they liked for once, and then giddiness over Bannon's comments in Michael Wolff's phony book. Now, this is the narrative that now it's Trump's crazy. We should invoke the 25th Amendment. We'll use that to throw him out of office. Russia didn't work. Take a look at this insane coverage that you're getting. And I tell you, media is dead. I told you in 2007. I was more right than I ever dreamed. Take a look.
We want to start with This Week in Russiagate.
This cloud about collusion with Russia will hang over him no matter where he stands.
Donald Trump is afraid. A political hurricane is out there at sea for him. We'll call it Hurricane Vladimir, if you will, the whole Russian thing.
This is evidence of willingness to commit collusion.
There's outright treason. I mean, they're to the enemy.
The idea of a nuclear showdown with North Korea keeps you up at night? I would recommend deleting your Twitter app.
This is language that would have been rejected from the script of Dr. Strangelove. We can't begin to normalize this. This is dangerous. This is childish. This is unpresidential. It's not befitting the leader of the free world.
Perhaps never have we seen a man whose profound sexual and masculine insecurities are literally threatening to annihilate the planet.
He is not merely being cavalier with a threat about nuclear war. He's being cavalier in a way that makes him seem demented.
These are the messages from a person who is not well, from a leader who is not fit for office.
None of this normal, none of this acceptable, none of this, frankly, stable behavior.
Return now to the public rift that broke out today between President Trump and his former chief strategist, Steve Bannon.
But if Bannon and Trump are getting divorced, who gets what?
This is certainly Trump's kind of bye Felicia moment for Bannon.
Wait, Dr. Humpty Dumpty and Dr. Anderson Cooper and Dr. Nicole Wallace. This is hard to keep up with. You see, if you watch really closely, this is how they do it. This is interesting. One person will say in their bubble, he's really demented. No, he's really, really demented. And then the next liberal will say, no, really, really, really demented. And they're talking to themselves. Get how they need their own examination? There's a reason the American people don't watch a lot of these fake news networks. Now, after moving on from these manufactured crises, one after another, the media's new drug of choice is the alleged comments that President Trump made in a heated Oval Office debate about immigration. Fake news, CNN loses it. They need some help. They need some psychiatric help. And according to the Media Research Center, the network literally said on air, shh, hole. I'm not allowed to say it, I'll be honest. I'd say it. Not allowed. 195 times on Friday alone. Take a look.
What was your reaction when you heard the president call, African nations holes?
It's not clear what he meant by whole countries.
Are you shocked or surprised by this?
I'm not surprised. In one way, I'm proud. I am a proud holer.
No, we are not all created equal. At least not if you are born in, as the president put it, a whole country.
The word house instead of whole, as in house countries, not whole countries.
I guess he's a holer.
Is there a difference if the president said whole or house?
Do you think these countries are holes?
Donald Trump has turned the Oval Office into a hole.
Holers built this country 110 years ago.
In addition to the president's comments yesterday, a few more.
Whole countries.
Hole.
Hole. Hole. Hole.
whole country.
Rich, do you have any example of any whole country that the president referred to that is predominantly Caucasian?
Holders,
Holes.
holders. I work for holders. I'm proud to be a holder.
I never in a million years thought I would be saying hole on television.
What a hole. Fake news network. Now, I wonder if the CEO, well, soon to be scandal plagued Jeff Zucker and his stenographer Humpty Dumpty are really proud of that coverage. It's pretty pathetic. Maybe I need to do a public service. Maybe I need to send CNN over a case of Xanax if I can get it legally. And since the media, led by the highly esteemed Drs. Joe Scarborough and a soon-to-be bride, Dr. Mika Brzezinski, since they love to diagnose the president even though they have zero medical qualifications, all right, let me play the same game. I'll step into their echo chamber for a minute, and I'll play their game. Here's Dr. Hannity's prescription tonight. All of you in the fake news network, you desperately, trust me, need psychiatric help. You are all out of touch with reality and suffering from delusional groupthink about the president. And if for some reason you overpaid, lazy so-called journalists can't pay for it, I'll help you because I'm probably paid more, and I'll offer assistance.